and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on adjectives. So, we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on adjectives. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. So we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca with your username as well as your password. And then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 7. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of adjectives. So there is quite a few lessons that we're going to do under the chapter of adjectives, right? However, we're going to, for today, only focus on two specific lessons, which is to identify as well as to order adjectives. So our chapter is adjectives. Our subject is English, which is language arts, grade 7. And our lessons is to identify adjectives as well as to order adjectives. And we're going to find out what an adjective is. So, an adjective is a word that describes or modifies a noun or a pronoun. So, we say that an adjective, it is a word that describes or modifies a noun or a pronoun. All right. So we're saying that an adjective, right, it describes a noun or pronoun or it modifies a noun or pronoun, right? And if we're going to go over a few examples, it says, the faded brown belt hung over the back of the chair. So the faded brown belt hung over the back of the chair. So we need to select our adjective. Remember the adjective, it describes, it explains, it modifies, tells us more about the noun or the pronoun. So the faded brown belt, which means that if we select our adjective, we can even say it is faded and we can maybe say it's brown, right? Because belt is our, it's a noun. But now faded brown belt. So the faded brown belt hung over the back of his chair. Robbie carried several books to the attic. So Robbie carried several books to the attic. So Robbie carried several books to the attic. And if we select the adjective, and if we look at the what the adjective is, then we can maybe say it is several, right? So several, because it's not telling us how many books. It's basically just saying several books. Because we'll find out later also that adjectives they can either tell us how much or they can tell us how what kind, right? So they won't give us a direct amount, but they will say things like several. And then we also have words like this, that, those, and these, right? They are also adjectives. They are called demonstrative adjectives, right? So the words such as this, that, those, these, they are also adjectives, right? When they modify a noun or a pronoun. However, they are called demonstrative adjectives. So demonstrative adjectives are words like this, that, those, madness, and so on. Adjectives, because they modify the noun or the pronoun. And there, no, I haven't seen that documentary. So, no, I haven't seen that documentary. So, that documentary, which means that if we select the demonstrative um, adjective, and then it will be that we would identify within that sentence. So, no, I haven't seen that documentary. And the word that is an adjective, and we call that a demonstrative adjective. right? And then also an adjective can appear before and after the word that it modifies, which is our noun or our pronoun, right? It can either come before or after. So Nell planted the fragile seedlings tenderly. So Nell planted the fragile seedlings tenderly. So basically, the seedlings were fragile, right? So the fragile seedlings, and that is what we will identify as our adjective, our fragile. Because they could have just said the seedlings, right? But they're saying that the fragile seedlings. And also, when it comes to adjectives, right? Adjectives that comes after the word they describe are usually connected by a linking verb. Example, like, to be, to seem, to appear, or to look. So adjectives that comes after the word that they describe are usually connected by a linking verb, which is like, to be, or like to be, to seem, to appear, or to look. For example, he seemed eager. He seemed eager for the mail to arrive. So seemed is our adjective over there. So now we're going to a plus students.ca. So now we're going to identify adjectives. And remember, we said an adjective, it describes or modifies a noun or a pronoun. And these are the ones that we already went over, but let's go again. The faded brown belt hung over the back of the chair. So faded brown belt. So faded brown, it basically tells us about the belt. Tells us what kind of belt it is, what kind of color it is. So basically, faded brown, it describes the belt. Robbie carried several books to the attic. Several. Basically, it's as if we are counting, right? But we are not actually. The words this, that, those, and these are adjectives. When they modify a noun or pronoun, then they are called demonstrative adjectives. So we say that these words, this, that, those, and these are adjectives when they modify a noun or a pronoun. And we call them demonstrative adjectives. And once again, we're like, no, I haven't seen that documentary. So which means that that is a demonstrative adjective. And these photos are from our trip to Tahiti. So an adjective can appear before or after the word it modifies. And we said adjectives that comes after the word that they modify are usually connected by linking verbs, which is to be, to seem, to appear, or to look. So basically over here, adjective that comes after the word that they describe, and usually they are usually connected by a linking verb, and we already made mention of that, right? So now it says we need to select the adjective. And remember, words like a, an, and the are not adjectives. So it says here the winter howled as it swept through the trees in the yard. A winter storm was on the way, and winter is the adjective because they're saying a winter storm, which means that we are describing the winter. We're saying what type of storm we need to prepare for. We need to prepare ourselves for a winter storm. If we continue, right, we see that an adjective, right, it either modifies or it basically tells us about the noun or a pronoun. So we've been saying that an adjective is a word that describes or modifies a noun. And even words like this, that, and those, as well as these, are demonstrative adjectives. And they help modify the noun and the pronoun. And then also, adjectives can either appear before or after. And then we use words like the linking verbs, which is to be, to seem, to appear, to look. So now let's go to our test. So we need to select the one adjective. Remember, we should not include a and or the. Those are not adjectives. So we select the adjective. Do we say the wind howled as it swept through the trees in the yard? A winter storm was on the way. Or the wind howled as it swept through the trees in the yard. A winter storm was on the way. So we need to check. We need to take the correct one. So we can say a winter storm, because winter, it already tells us what type of storm it is. It's a winter storm. So the wind howled as it swept through the trees in the yard. A winter storm was on the way. Let's go with a winter storm, because it tells us what type of storm it is. It's a winter storm, meaning it's going to be cold, it's going to be wet. We need to select the adjective. As we am ambled along the moonlit path, we listened to the symphony of crickets in the woods around us. Or as we ambled along the moonlit path, we listened to the symphony of crickets in the woods around us. So is it ambled or moonlit path? So we can say it's moonlit path. So we can say moonlit path. And moonlit path is correct. Because it's basically tell us what type of path. It's a moonlit path. We need to select the two adjectives. Dalton and Michelle recently purchased a beautiful lakefront home in the shore of Lake Michigan. Or Dalton and Michelle recently purchased a beautiful lake house, a lakefront home on the shore of Lake Michigan. So we need to select the correct word. So if we were to select the adjectives, right, we can say beautiful, ooh, We were still by the test. We said winter storm. And we said moonlit path. So here we said beautiful lake front. And beautiful lake house is great because it tells us what type of lake house it is. It's a beautiful. Then we need to select the two adjectives. Dogs can detect sound at a higher frequency than humans. Therefore, they hear high pitched noises that we can't. So dogs can detect sounds at a higher frequency, than humans. Therefore, they hear high pitched noises that we can't. All right, so we can say higher frequency. And that is correct because it's got a higher frequency. We need to select one adjective. Pedro gaped in disbelief when he saw that there had been a last minute change to the schedule and he had missed the flight. Or is it Pedro gaped in disbelief when he saw that there had been a last minute change? So we need to choose one of these adjectives. Is it last minute or a last minute or just last minute? Remember, they specifically say that we should not select articles, which is a, and, or the. So do we say that Pedro kept in disbelief when he saw that there had been a last minute change or last minute change? Let's just try last minute change without putting the a there. So we like last minute change to the schedule. Because remember they said we should not put a. And then we need to select two adjectives. There are numerous economic consequences of drought. For example, farmers may lose money when crops die and the cost of food may increase. So, is it numerous economic? Is it of drought? Or is it just numerous? Numerous. Let's try numerous economic. Let's say numerous economic. So let's say numerous economic. And numerous economic is correct. So now we're going on to other adjectives. Order adjectives, sorry, order adjectives. And we need to put these words in order. And we said adjectives are words that tells you about the noun or about the pronoun. And often more than one adjective is used to describe, let's say, the same word. And often more than one adjective is used to describe the same noun. So if we look at an example says, she gave me long red silk roses, which means that there's three words that describes the roses, which is long red silk, that describes the roses. It's long, red, and silk. That describes the roses. And now we need to put these words in order. And when more than one adjective is used, the adjectives usually go in a certain order. So when we put these words in order, then we start by the article, which is a, an, or the. Then we have an opinion, right? An opinion, the size, shape, the age, color, origin. And remember, when it comes to putting an adjective in order, right? We have a thing called a purpose or qualifier. And a purpose or qualifier, which we can see over here, where is it? Over here. So, a purpose or qualifier is often considered part of the noun. And when you put a purpose or qualifier with a noun, the result is similar to the compound word. So now if we describe the, let's say, the purpose and qualifier as well as all the other words, the two or three words it describes, maybe one word. And we say that this is the order. So here it says that a purpose or qualifier is often considered part of a noun, right? And when you put a purpose or qualifier with a noun, the result is similar to a compound word. For example, race car. It is basically as, and then we also have camping stove. So race car or camping stone. So we need to basically put it in its order. And we see that whatever we put first should be the article, which is a and or the origin, the size, it's either little, big, small, the shape. Hmm. So even here it says, right, when it comes to the purpose and the qualifiers, right, this little box that you see in front of you, it says when you put the qualifier, the purpose or qualifier with a noun, then the rest is similar to a compound word. Still even say that the way women are, like they say their roles, it is unacceptable. Anyways, when we have more than one adjective, right, or when more than one adjective is used, then the adjectives they usually go in a certain order. And like we said, we went over the box and the order, right? And we started by the color. And then we have color, then we have origin, material, purpose, and qualifier, as well as the noun that is being described, modified. Yeah, it says we need to put the words in order. Chemistry, experiment, the successful. So do we start by it saying that the successful experiment chemistry or the successful chemistry experience? So we can then say it is the successful chemistry expert. We need to put the words in order. Do, old, frisky, a. So we say a frisky old dog or old frisky dog. So do we say a frisky old dog or the old frisky dog? Mm, old frisky dog or the frisky old dog? Let's choose the frisky old dog. If not, then it's definitely the second one. It's the frisky old dog. And then put the words in order. A tortilla flour flat. Is it a tortilla flour flat or a flat flour tortilla? So we can say it is a flat flour tortilla because we don't say a tortilla flat flour, a flat tortilla or flat flour tortilla. And then the last one, it says political brief a speech. So is it a brief political speech or a political brief speech? So we can say it is a brief political speech. And that is correct. All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on order, on adjectives, and we identified as well as ordered adjectives, right? So this is the end of our lesson, grade 8. Thank you very much for your grade 7s. Thank you very much for interacting or for being part of the class. You should have a good day further. Goodbye.